Mech pilots, online. BattleTech manuals, online. Long-term memory, offline. All systems bungled. Initiating BungleTech podcast.
In our 44th deployment of BungleTech, we're officially launching the BungleTech merch store, giving you a whole new way to represent your BungleTech or Kodama pride. We've also rolled out a brand new BungleTest, a primer for the release of the BattleTech Core rulebook, and of course, we couldn't resist diving deep into the freshly updated BattleTech Core rulebook itself, breaking down our favorite new additions, our favorite changes, and what they mean for your table. Turn your attention to your battle computer, MechWarriors. New tactical information incoming.
This is Professor Michael presenting a Your Sphere special announcement. I want to share with you today, listener, about an upcoming event of some notoriety. This December 3rd through 6th TST, a confluence of MechWarriors, strategists, and nobles in the metropolis of Burnsville, Minnesota, known as KSAG 7. A unique meeting of unique individuals taking part in war games. The meaning of the event's name has perhaps been lost to the ages, but it rumors to refer to an ancient family of warlords who to this day pull the shadowy strings behind the scenes. This 7th iteration is hosted by the Wolfnet Radio podcast and the Minnesota BattleTech group. Nathaniel Smithson and myself were graciously invited to visit the event last year and had an exceptional time. This includes taking to the field in a paired tournament where we scored a non-zero number of victories. They also foolishly asked us to organize several combats of our own, with after-action feedback that included very chaotic but fun, and I never expected to intentionally overcharge my PPCs until they exploded, but here I am. Despite us causing nearly 350 million C-bills in damages to the loner mechs, they have invited us back this year. We will be hosting more chaotic nonsense for classic players. There will also be 4 solid days of every event imaginable. Chaotic, serious, friendly, competitive, large and small, but always fun. Personally, I am looking forward to getting back into the cockpit for the Pseudotech combat simulation, featuring the latest in hollow reality projection arrays and good old-fashioned rigged explosives under your armor. So head to wolfsdragoons.com/KSAGG for more information, and tabletop.events/conventions/KSAGG-VII to see the growing list of events, sign up for updates, and buy your badges. Links will be attached in the description below. Registration for events will open on September 5th. Prepare yourself. Now you know about KSAG 7.
Primary objective, podcast topic segment, initiating.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 44 of BungleTech, a BattleTech podcast. Today, I'm once again joined by the hedonistic Michael. Say hello, Michael.
Yes, that's me, the ever hedonistic Professor Michael. I dine only on the finest grapes shipped straight from Terra. plopped into my mouth by Kodama servants all about me.
Oh my goodness. The Kodama are so versatile. I love it. We're here today to do a ton of fun stuff. We hinted at it before, noble listeners, but we have now officially launched our merch store. And in standard BungleTech fashion, we went way too deep, way too quickly. We're going to talk about that a little bit. We're also going to talk a little bit about something we are releasing today, which is another version of the BungleTest to reflect changes that we have found in the in the BattleTech Core rule book. We were privileged enough to get a press copy that we've been reviewing, and we decided to update the BungleTest to reflect those changes. Then Michael and I are going to jump into discussing our top 3 things in the new book, specifically our top 3 additions and our top 3 changes. Let's get into it. Give me some of those grapes, Michael. Delicious. What the?
Sorry, you're very far away from me. Like you're a whole city away from me, so I had to fire the grapes very rapidly to reach you in time.
My eyes. Ah. Okay, let's talk about the store.
It's going to be one of those episodes.
So, the store, Michael. What do we have to say about it? What do people want to know?
It's pretty rad. It's we've obviously we've accumulated a ton of art and stuff over the years. As Nathan has suddenly become inspired and abruptly decided to get new art made for some weird marginal project. And so we've got a ton of art, and now that art is on things you can buy, things to wear, things to carry, things to hold liquids, things to stick to ferromagnetic surfaces and non-ferromagnetic surfaces. I think that covers most of it.
Professor Michael through and through. What a way to explain it.
Things to keep wet off of your table. A personal favorite of mine.
Things to keep your wet off of your table. Oh, I get it.
Dampening pad for your dice.
Yes.
Sounds pretty rad, actually. I because that art did not get enough use, and it's friggin' great. More people need to see it. So
that's right. So, in a very obscure fashion, Michael explained everything in the store. So yes, we have, I think, something like, I don't know, maybe 36 items in the store. We went to the store limit of creating stuff, and I'm like, oh, I want clothes. But what about this? What about that? We looked through all the stuff. That's why it took us months to do this. And it's because I have a sickness. When I just see something cool and I want to make it happen, we were both brainstorming stuff like, wouldn't this be cool? Wouldn't that be cool? Anyhow, there's lots of cool stuff there now. Really 3 different categories of things at a high level. We have fashion, so we have clothing of various types, including a bikini bottom for those that are feeling a little bit spicy.
The most important one, obviously, but there are many things for people who don't want to wear bikini bottoms.
But if you don't want to wear a bikini bottom, I question you, because it is the perfect accessory for strip heat management. And that was actually the inspiration for why we put the bikini bottom in there, specifically for that game mode. So we have a ton of clothes. We have hoodies, we have t-shirts, we have muscle shirts, we have hats, we have et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's so cool.
These print on demand stores, they're so bad for someone like Nathan. Because you can just make anything.
Yes.
You can have as many things as you want, as many colors as you want.
We as well have gameplay accessories. So as Michael was talking, we have dice mats, we have notebooks, we have stickers, et cetera, et cetera. You can now buy the Bunker STL from the store too. If you want to download the files to print off your own bunker, you can get that from the store. Anyone can do that. The custom painted and assembled bunker, that will still be a Patreon-specific reward. But if you want to print your own bunker and do what you want with it, that is now in the realm of possibility.
Mm-hmm.
And we have stuff for the household. Stuff like, I don't know, posters, framed artwork, coasters. That's what Michael said when he said, keep the things non-wet. That's what he meant. It was a very obscure hint. But we have coasters, we have fridge magnets, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Lots of cool stuff on there.
And we have mugs.
We've mugs too. Yes.
We got adorable mugs with Kodama butts all over them.
Yep, lots of Kodama butts. We got some custom art specifically made for this. That's what one thing Michael was saying. I think we now have 5 different art pieces of Kodama, which is insane that this niche thing that Michael somehow discovered and has one piece of art official now has, well, 600% that or 500% that. I don't understand how math works. A lot more because of Michael.
There's also a Kodama on the
you're right.
command dice mat.
Yes.
I thought you were going to finish the sentence for me, but we're not on the same wavelength today.
Yes. There's been lots of smoke from forest fires in our area. And it's actually, I'm not even joking, it's been killing me, guys. I don't know why. I recently got an air purifier for my house because I was dying, and I was actually recording a really big voiceover project across the past few months, and my throat was constantly on fire. So, wowza.
Ironically, your throat being on fire also contributed back to the smoke in the region. There's a little spot over Nathan's house where you look at the wildfire maps. It's slightly worse in Nathan's neighborhood.
Is it from that, or is it from my farts? It is one of the two, perhaps a combination of each.
Yeah, well, the farts don't actually burn innately, but with
you don't
with
know
the
any.
heat of the fire.
Don't you talk about my farts?
It is one of those episodes. Yeah, so there's a dice mat. There's a dice mat with a really cool big wide art piece that we got done for the Global Campaign Initiative. It's super rad. It's got a lot going on. I really like the art. It looks really good. I don't have enough uses for a dice mat, unfortunately.
And when we made this store, we had a simple philosophy, which is that any item you purchase will result in $5 going to the podcast. So that's a rule across the board. Because basically how the stores are set up at a basic level is the more expensive an item you sell, the more they mark it up. So for example, a hoodie would traditionally be marked up by something like $12 going to the podcast. We're looking at this, if you buy something, you're supporting us directly. So we cut the prices down to literally every single thing. The max we're going to earn from you earn from the purchase is $5. That's not 100% true, because might be $5.25, but it will never be over $5.49 and never under $5.
And this
so,
is,
yeah.
I assume this is $5 Canadian.
No, this is USD. This is $5
okay.
USD because that site is on
USD.
Yes.
The trickery of the Canadian
$500 Canadian. Let's go straight to the bank. And how this is a cool store. It's basically on this platform called Fourth Wall. And why we selected it is because they have the manufacturers that make this stuff exist for many items in various places across the world. So for example, if you're in America, often your purchases will be shipped from America. If you're in Canada, lots of your purchases can be shipped from Canada, Australia, Europe, all this stuff. So it's not 100% consistent with every item, as you'll find when you go into the store. But in general, the capacity is constantly building, and we really wanted something that wasn't like everything made in Canada and shipped from Canada, because the shipping costs will just kill you. So essentially, wherever you buy from, the philosophy is that it's supporting sort of the local businesses that are making the items, if that makes sense. And they follow sort of the Fourth Wall standards. It's a pretty cool system. And once again, just to iterate though, it's not perfect yet. We discovered that when we were actually testing and ordering items for ourselves to test out the products. We're like, oh wow, this one isn't in Canada. This one isn't in Canada either. Wow, this one comes from Latvia and stuff like that. But you can tell that that's what they're going for. And there are many items where that is very relevant. So
yeah, especially the more normal stuff, shirts and hoodies and stuff can get manufactured and shipped to a bunch of different places. So it's all print on demand. You can order it. Should ship pretty quickly. Pretty neat. You think of something that you think that we're really missing, send us a message, and we'll consider adding it to our extremely carefully curated and groomed BungleTech merch store. BungleTech, a BattleTech podcast merchandise store.
And I will reiterate, if you are a true fan of BungleTech, you will buy the bikini bottom. That's how I'll know. If I see you on the street walking around and you're wearing the bikini bottom outside on top of your clothes or on your head like a headband. Actually, the first thing I did with the bikini bottom is I wrapped it around my son's head. So he's like, what's this? And I'm like, it's a hat. So that is a viable way to wear it. That's how I know you're a true BungleTech fan. I mean, if you want to represent yourself away, no pressure, guys.
Even if you aren't a fan, but you play with friends who are fans, it's important for you to get some of this merch too.
Totally.
When they drag you to a BungleTech game mode and they're like, oh, I want to do, I want to do a holy war on our table. And you're like, what are you talking about? And you're like, there's some weird nerds on the internet who talked about this. They made this game mode. And you're like, that's dumb. But you still want an edge. You got to come to our merch store.
That's right. Because for each merch item, there are specific little buffs you get if you have this merch item on you, wearing it or utilizing it and playing BungleTech specific game mode. Let's break them down. We'll do the first category, which is the easiest, which is clothing. The biggest category, lots of clothing. Any player that is wearing an item of BungleTech clothing while playing a BungleTech game mode may re-roll a failed roll once per game. Whoa.
That's pretty good. That's a significant thing. And all you got to do is throw on a little Kodama bikini or a Kodama hoodie or a Kodama, shirt or any number of things.
We should actually give a bigger buff for the Kodama bikini. We should it should be the only item of clothing that has a better sort of
it should give bonuses specifically for strip heat management.
Yes, you're right. Okay, we'll add that. There'll be an additional strip heat management buff soon to come in there too.
It'll be buffed in a patch.
Yes. If you have something like a note bag or a tote and you are playing a BungleTech game mode, if you ever make an unintentional rule mistake once per game, you don't roll it back before the mistake was made. You're just forgiven. You can't intentionally do it. Don't lie.
But they can't prove that.
They can't prove that.
No one
so
can know the nature of your mind.
So, except yourself.
Ergo.
Yes. And can we really know the nature of our own mind? This is getting spiritual. We need to get Matt and Seth back in here to talk about this, the nature of the mind. If you have the fridge magnets, and let's say you have fridge magnets and they're on your fridge or your cooler or something like that, your metallic cooler. And if you find out that someone has snuck a snack from your fridge or cooler without your permission or consent, if you have the Kodama mob stickers, they immediately resolve a critical hit chance on each of their units. That's right. Screw them.
You can't steal from it. They're protective wards.
Yes, exactly. You're going to get mobbed by Kodama.
You're going to get mobbed by Kodama.
And if you have the bungler magnets instead, and they do the same thing, they immediately have to resolve a PSR on each of their units instead.
They fall over.
They
like
fall
bunglers
over.
do.
Yeah.
Get bungled.
What effect do the mugs give, Michael? Because you're passionate about mugs.
I do like the mugs. I'm quite fond of mugs because there's something that you can actually use. And we got a couple ones. One with set of Kodamas around it, and one with the little bunglers. But if you're drinking from a BungleTech mug during the game while you're playing one of the game modes, then you get to ignore environmental effects for one turn that match, which really would come in handy during the moon fog incident, for instance.
Yes. I actually think this is probably one of the most powerful buffs that we gave. Is the mugs are pretty strong, man.
It's a powerful buff if people play like you do, which is always turning on effects or bringing the friggin' initiative cards and being like, well, guess we get moon fog again.
Yeah, but I like this. Like, yeah, the card, it pops up. And then all of a sudden, everyone else is crippled at the table. But you lift up your mug, take a sip, smile as you put it down and say, oh man, I can move normally this round. No half MP for me. I bet you wish you had a BungleTech mug.
And then...
Yeah, you try to show off and then you fall. But at least you have that sipping moment where like you feel like right into my trap, you know? And everyone looks at you and they're like, oh my God, you're so good. You're such a good player. Yeah, pretty much. That's it. What about the coasters, Michael? You love coasters too.
Coasters are pretty good. Although I did damage one of my prototypes because I forgot that like it's an actual cork coaster with a nice little shiny laminate on it. But yeah, you can't let them get too wet. And so one of mine, the cork is getting a little bit thing. So I'm going to have to pick up a new set because any player with a BungleTech coaster under their drink at a BungleTech game event can extend the duration of your turn constraints, any timers or things that someone may have added abruptly to the game that you're playing, say a 30-second timer on movement, you get to extend it by 10%. Extremely situational, but the coasters are cool and you should get them anyways.
I like it. And last year at KSEG, which we are going to again this year, see you at KSEG, we realized that people really like stickers.
Mm-hmm.
We did like a game mode that was utilizing stickers. We had these little sticker things. It was sort of cool. Anyhow, so we got a little custom sticker, like some stickers made, which are sort of fun. And we've added a custom rule for this. So if you're playing a BattleTech game mode and you decide, man, I want to make this more fun, take your sticker. You can put the sticker on your sheet. Any unit that has that sticker on their sheet gets a permanent +1 defensive modifier and a +1 on any critical hit chance that land on that unit. So, harder to hit, easier to explode.
That's yep.
Maybe we should make a +2.
I wasn't paying attention to which direction that critical hit modifier was. I was like, oh yeah, Nathan assigned a nice defensive buff.
No. No, this is a kick in the balls. It's like someone's caressing your hair nicely and being like, you can do it as they punch you in the gut constantly. Like getting mixed messages.
As it is, I think I would take it. +1 defensive modifier is pretty huge.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
So yeah.
But you got to spend a sticker.
Yeah, you got to use those stickers, and those suckers, they ain't. They're pretty cheap. They're as cheap as we can make them. we might have to look into some cheaper rolls of stickers, but these are some nice stickers.
Yeah,
so
they're shiny.
Some nice shiny stickers.
You could even technically blind your opponent if you get the light right. You can just sort of flicker in their eyes as they're playing constantly. And that's not that you can do that and don't even need a BungleTech game mode. Just put it on your sheet and start like flickering in their eyes constantly. Give you an edge at the table.
Next up, we got some nice wall art. We've got the bunker, both the sort of 3/4 view. What am I thinking of? Like the technical readout. As well as the design sheets, both original and bungled, the blueprints, available as posters and framed arts. And if you have any of these on your wall, while I'm trying to actually concoct the situation where this would happen. I'm not sure if this is an IRL bonus or if this is specifically if you're like playing like BattleTech role-playing in your house. But showing this artwork off will give you a bonus in courting an individual with whom you or a character would like to
make kissy-kissies with.
Make kissy-kissies with, yes.
Honestly, this is one of the weird ones because this isn't actually game mode specific. So this is a potential, modifier. But I mean, if I had a hot date and I always have the hot dates. Know what I'm saying? Guys, know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
And I bring a lady back to my place. The first thing I'm going to do is bring her to my wall of bunglers. Be like, check out this bunker art, babe. And then I look her in the eyes and say, you can kiss me now. Can I share actually a story?
Why not? Why not?
So
can I stop you?
So when I was young, no, this is 100% true. Okay. I had a girl over to my house. I was like, I don't know, I was like 6 or 7 or something like that. It's one of my first crushes, and you know how, things are awkward enough when you're young, and I was an awkward kid. Anyhow, so I had this like tent bed, you used to have these tents that you could you wrap it around your bed, the mattress, and it would sort of be it was a really cool tent. Anyhow, she's over, we're playing, we're just friends or whatever. She had a crush on me, I had a crush on her, like kid crushes, right? Nothing serious business, not like arranged marriage or anything like that. And we're sitting in the bed, her name's Jessica, in the tent, and we're eating cake. And then my house dog, which is a Doberman named Jetta, sticks its head into the tent and eats all her cake and scares the crap out of her.
Okay.
And so she's terrified. Yeah. And I think this is my moment to strike. And I literally look at her and say, you can kiss me now. So that's officially my first attempted pickup line when I was like 6. You can kiss me now. For the record, she did not kiss me.
You didn't have any bunker posters up.
And if I had a bunker poster, yeah, so this is literally, I built this so that will never happen to me again.
So it never has to happen to anyone again.
Yes, and anyone again.
No child has to have their first kiss rejected.
Yes.
Because the potential recipient is terrified of a Doberman because they'll be able to look at the mighty bunker.
Exactly.
They'll be able to remember how 2 idiots were able to do a podcast on the internet about how bad they were at video or at tabletop games. And they'll think, wow, at least I'm not like them.
Oh boy. I didn't think that was going to come out in this episode. That's a weird memory just to pop into my head.
Mm-hmm.
You can kiss me now. I'll always remember it, man.
Last thing. Dice mat. It's a dice mat. It's a mat that you can roll dice on. It's got some cool artwork. It looks great. And when you're using it during a BungleTech game mode, when you roll on the mat, you can subtract 1 from any of those rolls, which is insane.
But also not good at all. It's useful in very specific situations where you want your roll to be lower, right? But
yeah, I guess so.
But so it's not very useful. But when it is useful,
I'm thinking through it, especially with the couple of examples I can think of are no longer relevant because of upcoming core game changes. Yeah, I don't know.
And if other people, other people
effects,
could roll
maybe?
on your might too. Yeah. Other people could roll on your sheet as well. So someone might try to sneak a roll in.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why you got to keep your guard up. Muay Thai. Yeah, just smack that hand. Roundhouse kick to the head.
Those of you BattleTech TCG players, you might think that we've forgotten about you, but we have not. Because there is a second effect on the dice mat. It is so powerful, but I am going to need Nathan to explain this one because I don't play the TCG, so I don't actually understand what this rule does.
All right, so in the TCG, in the final release, Commander's Edition, not technically not the final release, but then when they refreshed it, they added something called box powers. And so each different faction had a different box power. So now I added a box power. If you use this as your sort of your playmat, if you use this as your playmat and you haven't already used a box power, you now have access to the Mercenary Galatea box power, which is during your deploy phase, may spend R to transfer construction counters from one card under construction to another card under construction, which basically means you spend a resource to transfer your tokens. So it lets you have flexibility and like you can be building something and then all of a sudden all those resources move to another thing. You can like do funky little bait and switches, which thematically makes sense for mercenaries.
Best thought out rule out of all of this.
Yeah.
We know where Nathan's real passions lie these days.
Our group just found it was a MechWarrior expansion. And we found, I think, something like 20 card packs for the MechWarrior expansion. We just bought them all recently, went and opened them. Oh my, the fact that you can still find some of these packs is crazy. So it's always so fun when we randomly stumble upon them, like, gotta buy them. And then we open them up and we're like, we already have all these cards. Why did we do this? We're like, we don't know. This is fun. So anyhow, it was a good time. I got another Headhunter card in case people are wondering, and I love Headhunter, one of my favorite cards. All this is apropos of nothing. Really, the store is launched, baby. Check it out if you want to support the podcast. Once again, any item you buy results in $5 being donated to the BungleTech podcast. Thank you so much for your passion and support. As Michael said, if you have any additions or any thoughts of other stuff you might like to see, let us know. But know there is a lot of stuff on there already. You will see. There's a lot of stuff.
There sure is. Assemble the full collection.
Yes.
Do not assemble the full collection.
Ooh, that would be... Wow. I don't even know how much that would cost.
BungleTech has finally sold out. That's right. As of now, we're pay to win. All those free game modes, that was just to lure you in. Now you got to spend real money to be able to win at it. Starting small, but pretty soon we're just going to be selling tickets. We're just going to be selling tickets on our store that you can use to get loot boxes full of small bonuses for our game modes.
This entire time we've been setting up the play. We've been marking ourselves as casual, but really we're all about the competitive. We're all about those edge case advantages. We're all about those bad tabletop experiences. And so that's what we finally decided to reveal our true colors. BungleTech Dark. Okay, cool. Let's get into the next juicy stuff. So that's our store. So
sorry, I didn't mean to leave you hanging there. I was trying to parse what BungleTech Dark would be, but I don't know. And it washed over me. Sorry, carry on. We're talking about the new rules.
Okay, everybody. As we mentioned at the beginning of this episode, which was 30 minutes ago, this was supposed to be a 5-minute conversation about the store, but you know how Michael and I are. We have fun. What can we say? The new core rule book has been launched, and we were fortunate enough to get a press copy of that. So one of the things that we want to do straight away is we want to make a new BungleTest. If you remember, we released a BungleTest, 50 questions, basically covering sort of the entirety of BattleTech in many ways, like touching upon different things across all the books to see how close people could get to actually knowing everything. It was an insanely hard test. And so what we decided to do is let's go back to this test. Let's go through it question by question, and let's see which one of these answers would have actually changed, and then release a new version of this test. So that's what we're doing. But the new version of the test will only have questions that have changed. So
it's a little revamp. It's a little update.
So think of this like one sort of a quick thing to maybe erase your memory of the old rules and establish sort of the new rules in your mind a little bit. It's like a heads up of some important changes. Because once again, when we made the BungleTest, we were trying to really hit some of the core things. Obviously, there are going to be more changes in this. And maybe in the future, we'll make, like once a new version of TAC Ops comes out and all that stuff, once we get to that place, I think at that time it might make sense to do a full new BungleTest. But right now, this is literally just for us to try to trick you, to see if you can. Many of you won't even have this book yet, so this is literally going to be guessing. You're going to be guessing at what the changes are, but it'll train you on those key new changes. And here's what we found out, which is actually sort of crazy in my opinion. So first, when looking through the BungleTest and correlating with the new core rulebook, which first is it's a great new rulebook. Long story short, there's been some pretty significant changes. And if you remember, we did an episode where we were looking at the first original BattleTech release. And in the original BattleTech release, we're saying, okay, how much has BattleTech changed from here to the newest version of the BattleMech manual? And to me, we found some pretty significant changes, right, in that old analysis we did. But at the same time, it still really felt like BattleTech. Would you agree with me, Michael?
100%.
This in many ways feels the same to me. Like it sort of feels like the same scope change as if maybe if you had the original BattleTech released second edition to the from second edition to Total Warfare. This feels like the same equivalent of a jump from Total Warfare to the new core rule changes, in my opinion, just from feelings.
Sort of the same thing that we discovered, like it's not only that like it still felt like BattleTech, but like, there's a lot of rules that obviously have a very long history, and it's not like this has like changed that. you can still see the long history of a lot of rules, and that like, I don't know, antique game design. That's perhaps not polite to OG BattleTech players, but it's a little bit older. It's got some older design sensibilities, and that's pretty much intact here.
And so when we were looking through the old BungleTest and comparing it, so a ton of the questions are out of scope, because when we made that test, it wasn't just the core rule book. It was also TAC Ops, advanced rules, like we did Strat Ops, like we did so many rule books, right? It was across the whole gamut that we built that test. So literally about 40% of the questions in the original BungleTest are NA, because this is like when they go back and they start changing those advanced rules for the new versions of those books, that's when these would potentially change. So they're essentially left untouched. But of the 30 remaining, over a third of them had changes. So 11 changes of the 30 questions remaining. So the test is going to be, I think, it's going to be 11 questions. But, so it's a quiz. It's a quiz, not a test anymore. It's a quiz. Won't be timed or anything like that. Really, really sort of a lot nicer. Anyhow, it's pretty significant. That's pretty significant.
Yeah. And part of that comes from the fact that like in the BungleTest, we wrote the BungleTest to be hard. Well, I guess we wrote it in a few sections, and the changes that we saw were sort of split a surprising number even in the easy section. But we specifically like wrote these to be hard questions, dealing with stuff sort of around the margins, things you don't think about too much, or things that get like house ruled all the time, or are just like a little bit confusing, so you don't really like, drift past it at the table. And that's where a lot of these fixes really, or a lot of these changes really seem to be targeted, was at taking a lot of those like weird cases and making them a bit more intuitive, I think was the goal. Smoothing out some things that were a little bit clunky, and make those things work a little bit faster without changing the core game. I don't think that you're going to see a huge change in how BattleTech plays. The core, everything is still there, same as it has been for like 40 years. But a lot of the little things that might have taken you extra time to explain to someone are now elided out.
It was a really good analytical review of the rules. the creator of this, Keith Hahn, he lives in Calgary, so I was fortunate enough to be part of the actual play tests and these rule modifications and make suggestions and stuff like that. And the core team that was making these suggestions are people that are actually part of our play group that are really experienced players, and there really was a good filter on what is imbalanced, what is unnecessary, what is redundant, what can we just remove to make this lighter and more agile? Because BattleTech, the rules, they've evolved very organically, and sometimes that has resulted in blisters forming in various areas.
Yeah.
And so really this was about like returning it to this sort of solid shape.
Without taking
purpose.
away any of the crunchiness, any of the tactical options, just make it so that some of the stuff that like was annoying to play around would get house ruled all the time, or things that were sort of fake tactical options because they sort of made sense once when they were written and never got looked at again.
So go take the test. It's just 11 questions, and it will tell you after you do it, you might have to guess some of these rules you might already know, but by the end of it, there will also be a descriptor of the changes that have happened. So if you got something wrong, we'll say, okay, this is the new rule, and this will help arm you for when this book comes out, because there are going to be a ton of gotchas that are going to happen at the table with this new rule book. Like even, it's funny, like Michael and I being a case egg, I'm already thinking about like, hey, how is this going to be impacting our game modes? Like we're really going to have to be on the ball because we're going to be playing with the new rule book at case egg for sure. So to make sure that, okay, what's changed? How is this going to impact our game modes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, looking forward to it.
A
Beyond
new
the test,
generation of bungles.
Yes, but I actually think, I don't know, I feel like this is going to reduce bungles overall because it removes like stuff that just doesn't make sense. Anyhow, go do the test. And what we're going to do actually is, once we get lots of results coming in from this test, we're actually going to have an episode with Keith Hahn. We're going to talk about some of these rule changes. We're going to talk about the results of the test to see what surprised him and go from there and talk about generally how it's been received so far and everything like that. I only have positive things to say about what I've seen so far, and I'm really excited to put it on the table. But let's get into what are our top 3 additions to the book and what are our top 3 changes. So how about we do our top 3 changes first, Michael?
It sounds good.
Let me hear
Nathan.
yours.
Let me tell you mine. Okay, so changes, and this is not by any means like this is not rigorous. I took a look through the rules, and I picked some things that seemed fun, some changes that I liked. I'm like, yeah, I can see how it's done. I have not played any of it. I don't know if it's actually good. It might be bad, but just on a first read, autocannon armor piercing ammo has gotten better, which I like. It previously used to have a +1 target number modifier when you were using it, and in exchange you got like a small bone or a chance to score critical hits, even on non-critical hit things. You could roll a through armor critical anytime with it, but you would take a +1 target number modifier. The bonus was worse depending on how small your autocannon was. And I could just never justify the loss of accuracy because like a +1 modifier is huge. But now the autocannon AP ammo, the cost is just the reduction in ammo, which is fair. That's very reasonable, and that's how all the other ammo types are balanced as well. So I like that. I'm looking forward to a new era of autocannon parity.
Very cool.
All right. Number 2, fall direction. You always fall on your face, and sometimes you're back, but you still land on your face. And I think this is good. The way falls work I feel like this just makes it a little bit less punishing. Having to roll for like which way I spun around, like added a sizable risk to positioning. Now it's more predictable. It's faster because I don't need to like figure out my fall direction. It's only one die roll, but it's just like, I don't know how much it ever like impacted things other than adding a little bit of randomness to like what arc am I going to get shot in. So, this maybe tightens it up a bit, one fewer die roll to explain, and where the damage is going to be more predictable based on where you were moving. So if you were moving and you put your heavy armor towards the enemy and you fall, your armor is still towards the enemy. That's good.
And what I like about that too is like, it fixes a redundancy, because when you stand up in BattleTech, your facing can be whatever. So
Yeah.
you'd have people roll for facing, and then what do? When they stand up, they just revert to their original facing.
Yeah.
So it just like,
I remember
it just
sort
removes a redundancy.
of when I was learning, I basically went through that thought of like, oh, so I fall randomly and then I stand up and I face that random direction. I got to turn, and you're like, no, you can stand up in any direction you want. I'm like, okay, so why did I spin around before I fell down? But yeah, it basically just added a tiny bit of randomness where if you fall, you no longer have any control over the arc you're being shot in. Nothing much is lost, I think.
Yeah, totally.
And then the last one is retractable blades. Used to have a like pilot special skill where if you punched with a retractable blade, you could punch and then extend the retractable blade. Now retractable blades just do that. Retractable blades have 2 attack modes. You can melee with the retractable blade, or you can punch and then extend the retractable blade.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, it wasn't actually a piloting skill. It was an advanced rule though, and now they've made it a basic rule.
Well, wasn't there a piloting skill that that had to do with that? I remember it being on some of the pilot cards.
Oh, maybe I don't recall, but I know definitely the ability to punch and then get the retractable blade to come out for a crit chance. That's what the rule is, right? That used to be TAC Ops specific. So that being chucked in there is good, because that's actually one of the reasons why we put a retractable blade on the bunker. Because I'm like, this weird TAC Ops rule we could use. But now it's just normal. Now the bunker's just normal. Now we got to redesign the mech completely.
And just broadly, I think that there seems to be a lot more stuff put in for melee. Sort of going through all the different weapons and things and shields and the effects of them. I don't know how much. I don't play melee mechs very much. I don't play mechs with swords very much. But there's a like whole section now for different melee weapons and shields and retractable blades and vibro blades and all sorts of things. And probably a lot of that was scattered through, TAC Ops before, but now it's just normal BattleTech.
Normal BattleTech.
Give something for those melee mech users.
That's sweet. My top 3 changes are, one of them is kick is now a -1 instead of a -2, which the -2 we all know was too good.
Oh no, but you might fall down. No,
Yeah.
You're not going to fall down. You're not going to kick if you're going to miss. You're going to kick when you're at like a target number of 5.
And I think anything that, why I like this rule change too is, like, as soon as you make something the optimum choice, it decreases the variety of play in the game. And so now this is a slight modifier, but I think this is going to enhance the variety a little bit. So I'm stoked about that change. They made some changes to roads, which are pretty epic, in my opinion.
Pretty epic road changes.
Like, now it is essentially easier to move on roads than it was previously. Like, if you're moving on elevations, and there's a road on there, it actually it makes it easier to move on the road. So you have it's less expensive to do elevation changes. And perhaps the more significant one is skidding has been removed.
Dun,
And
dun, dun.
that's huge because there was too much risk. There wasn't really a reward in moving in roads previously,
Yeah.
but there was risk. And now that risk has been removed, now like roads actually become like tactically things on a map that matter. Before it was just they just didn't matter. They just didn't matter nearly as much. So now they are much more important. So I'm excited for that, and that will change how current maps play out. Like I have some maps that have roads going all through them that go through elevation changes, and now that makes those that much more important to use and to defend and all that fun stuff.
It's a bit bittersweet for me. I'm definitely going to miss skidding.
What I think they should do is I think that they should add skidding as a rule for vehicles. Maybe it might come back in TAC Ops. I can imagine that this might come back in TAC Ops for mechs as well, and then we'll have to play with it anyhow. But to me, it makes sense if you kept skidding for like wheeled vehicles, and you didn't keep it for mechs or for tracked vehicles, and you still keep it for like VTOLs, the side slip stuff.
Or toss it in with like an environmental thing, slick roads in the rain.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, make complete sense. Yeah, I agree.
Bring it in with the ice map pack. Bring back the skidding rules.
There you go. And then they also made some significant changes to water movement, which I won't necessarily get into right now, but just know it's essentially easier to move through water. And so, because to me, BattleTech is like a chessy game, like movement I've always said is the most important thing in BattleTech. Like the shooting stuff, that to me comes after the movement, and the movement, your positioning, all that stuff is hands down the most important. So these two are two significant changes to how movement works in the game. And basically what they're doing is they're allowing more movement. And to me, that is going to make the game much more interesting and much less predictable. So stoked for those.
Yeah, I think that anything enabling sort of ground movement is good. And this goes back to one of our very first bungles. It was one of our earliest bungles.
Yeah, man. Hopefully they add the rule where you're allowed to run up buildings too. The original ultimate bungle. All right, what about our top 3 additions? Because there's actually stuff in this book that haven't been in previous books.
Why don't you start?
They're juicy. Okay. So first, this is going to save so much time. There's now a location critical hit effects table. So you know how previously in like the BMM and other books, you had to read through the individual, okay, this happened, my shoulder got hit, my hand got hit, my foot got hit. You had to like read through bodies of text to understand the modifiers and how it was going to impact you. It was always like you always had to dig. Whenever you got a component critical hit, you're like, okay, I got to dig and figure this out. Now there's a table dedicated to it, man. It's such a useful player resource. It's going to save so much time at the table. I always dreaded, oh, I got my hip hit. Let's double check what happens here, blah, 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 blah. Now it's a single table. So good.
And you kind of had the start of that on printed in some places. Like I think you have like a fold out, like a shield that has the old modifiers thing, but it was more like just a general like pilot movement modifiers, and so it had everything on there, and also a few of the critical components. So having an actual critical hit place, good.
And on that topic, they changed the piloting skill roll table. There previously was one. I'm going to consider this an addition because it's very revamped. They basically, because so many things changed, but the PSR sort of table honestly had irrelevant stuff in there. And now it's been redesigned. It's much sharper, and it, obviously reflects the new rules, but it adds new stuff that should have been in there and removes stuff that shouldn't be in there. So now it's just a much better view. It's actually it's very useful. So the pilot skill roll table combined with the location critical hit effect table, those are like 2 now of sort of the key tables you want to have at every game. It'll make things way faster. And then the truly net new one is we now have battlefield support assets for aerospace. And I'm really excited for these. I was part of the play test of these originally, and I really like how they play it out on the table. It's essentially a simplified way to play with aerospace. And if you've ever played the real rules of aerospace, you'll understand how complicated it is and how much it almost is like 5 other layers on top of the game mode that just makes it, that really, really, really slows down how it plays. BFSS, the battlefield support aerospace, is agile, it's simplified, but it makes sense thematically. And it pretty much feels like you want to add battlefield support to the game. Okay, you can do this, and this just adds 2 layers. Where the other one, like I said, it's adding like 8 or 10 layers.
Yeah.
And it's simplified. It's good. And it's funny, like we were supposed to, Michael, a long time ago, our lore masters, actually, we were supposed to do an episode on playing with aerospace, and we haven't done it yet. And so we're going to take the cop out, and we're going to play with this version of aerospace. Because to me, this is more relevant.
Both. We should compare and contrast.
Oh, God, no. Don't even joke about that, Michael. Aerospace is hell.
I haven't played the new rules or the old rules for that matter, but it does still look like they've got like the heart of it in there. It is still like another layer with a bit of like tactical decisions to make about like what your approach is going to be and how you're going to commit your assets, which I think lets you get the interesting tactical meat of aerospace without having too many rules. But there's still quite a few rules.
Yes, there is. Yeah.
It's
I like
whole
the fuel.
whole new module.
They add there's a fuel element to the aerospace. So basically once they're deployed, they have like a countdown of when they can be used, which is sort of cool. Mm-hmm. So, cause like they're in the air. Anyhow, it's there's lots to them. But it definitely is a unique addition. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Okay, how about you, Michael? Your top 3 additions.
So I'm actually going to say the same thing about the aerospace, but also just generally, it feels like the whole BFS system has really rounded out to give you like a way to do combined arm. With this, then it feels like you really can do mech fight, the whole army supporting you, but it gives you a lighter engine than the old like crunchy 90s style rules of everything is dice rolls forever. So I like the whole combined arms stuff now. I really want to try some lance of mechs with infantry, vehicle, VTOL, aerospace support. How does it play? I like the looks of it. I haven't played with any of it. I want to try it.
Mm.
And then sort of related to that, there's a section for urban combat rules. That I don't know how much into it you went, but I think it's quite neat. There's a ton of things like going back to like our personal history. I heard many stories about you and friends when you were younger playing and having cool times with like crashing into buildings and like finding out there was a basement and plummeting into it. But I have never played a game where we did that because the rules for buildings were so arcane and spread out in the TAC Ops rule book. And so we always just played with like, well, buildings are buildings. They have a height. They behave like all other terrain fundamentally. And even when we had to do like, towers and stuff, we didn't want to use the building rules because the building rules were very challenging. But the new urban combat module, it streamlines it quite a bit. It does things by like building class, which is just basically like 5 tiers, and then mech weight, which is 4 tiers, and some dice rolls here and there. Not a huge amount of bookkeeping. You don't have to think about hardness. Although it's still a little bit crunchy. There's still a lot of the like core of it, but I can actually sort of understand what's happening, and I want to try a proper urban scenario now using the urban combat rules.
Yeah, those were actually fun to play test, the newer rules.
Mm-hmm.
I remember like when I was play testing it, I was barreling through buildings, hiding there and stuff like that. It was fun. It was fun for sure.
And I think one of the things that has always been a little bit tough for me about buildings is when buildings are just treated as terrain. Like jumpy mechs just jump onto the buildings. Walkie mechs just find a height one building and then walk onto that and keep walking. And because, higher ground is good and the buildings are different heights, so you can take cover. So like you're probably not going to be fighting in a death trench of a city street very often. But with these urban combat rules seem fairly designed to avoid that. There's going to be lots of buildings that you just can't stand on. They're not rated for mechs landing on the roof no matter what. You can't run across the roofs of buildings, like between buildings, because there's actually gaps between them. So I don't know. There's a bunch of things in there that I want to have my sweet urban combat experience, and maybe we'll do it with the combined arms, and I'll get rocket launched by infantry all day long. It'll be great.
Let's go.
And then the last one, I think that between us, we're basically covering like all the new sections added here. But the mission section, there's a standard missions section, which includes ways of rolling up missions, and then like randomly determining an objective type, randomly determining various like modifiers and spoilers that can affect the mission to sort of make them all unique. And I quite like the way it looks. I haven't played it again, but I like the vibe. It's got lots of different objective types, including ones that we've had to house rule our own things for. Things like scanning of targets as an objective, or picking something up and carrying it off the battlefield. Those now have standard mission rules, and then even modifiers. So if you have a mission for carrying something off, there are things for a modifier in case it's a fragile objective that you need to carry off the battlefield. And if you take hits or you drop it, then there's a chance of it being destroyed. So I think that it's quite neat and could give a lot of life. Especially if you're not into like if you're starting up a game, you've got some friends, you want to play missions, you don't know what to play. This will let you roll up. Each of you can buy your lands, paint them up, show up, and then right then and there you roll up what the mission's going to be, lay out a map, drop the objectives, and you can play. So I think it's quite neat. Without it, you can play without it just being a slugfest most of the time. That's the last one.
Heck yeah.
I like the missions. Probably. I haven't played them yet, but
we got to think about adjusting our mission pack to align to those if it's going to be required or not. That's one thing when I first saw that, I was like, oh, do we need to change ours now to reflect?
I don't think it's needed. Like, it doesn't replace anything. You can have your missions be about whatever you want, but for things like scanning, I think it would be great to like bring it in line with the what the standard language and modifiers are for BattleTech missions, because it'll make it a lot easier, to do. And I'm also curious if it'll make it easier to write missions if you have this like standard library of tools.
Yeah, that's cool. When we released Holy War, or mechanized Holy War, we updated the rule book to switch from our custom turret rules that Michael and I spent too much time designing, probably, to the BSP turrets, because then those are available. So we do like to try to standardize and use the standard, but it's good to see that this stuff is constantly changing. And obviously you see, when you look at this, you see that they have looked at what the community has made and been like, oh yeah, this is something we need to consider. Let's make this official. This is something we need to consider. Let's make this official. So
Yep.
I am stoked.
I want to know if the there's a rule in the mission section about fog of war, where you can deploy little like sensor blips that prove to be like real or not, and that's something that we sort of really got working well in a very similar way during the Global Campaign Initiative. I'm sure many people have done the sensor blips, but like I don't know, it'd be cool if we helped inspire that.
No, they stole everything from us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Every good idea in this book.
Scanning things, carrying things, hiding things. Those are things that we've talked about.
Yeah, we talked about shooting things too.
Shooting things?
We talked about the different BattleTech phases, and the BattleTech phases are in there, so they definitely stole that from us. Yeah.
Just one thing after another.
Those monsters.
Catalyst, expect to hear from our lawyers.
Yeah. Exactly.
They're never sending us a press copy again.
Cool. Well, that's the episode, everybody. So as a reminder, the store has launched. Check it out. If there's anything cool in there that you want to get to both support our podcast and represent your BungleTech or Clan Kodama pride, please do. And the BungleTest is now linked in the show description as well. Go in there. Once again, this is a short little test that is just highlighting what has changed from the old test of the rules that were applicable. So 11 short questions. It's a good little primer for the new rule book.
A refresher on the thing that you haven't seen yet.
Yes, it's a primer. Perfect. It's a good primer on the new book when you get it in your hands.
Mm-hmm. And is the book on the store shelves? I'm not dialed into these things.
No. So the book I think they only released the book at Gen Con, from what I know. And so there have been physical copies. That's where our press copy came from, actually. It came from Gen Con. And it has been circulating around, but it's not commonly available in stores yet. I think September, so next month, is when people are going to be able to start purchasing it. A thing to keep in mind, though, everybody, is this is definitely going to be, like we said, the Battle Mech manual was worth buying because it compiled things and made sense of things and made your game so much faster. And the core rulebook, there's so many changes to BattleTech in here that playing BattleTech going forward, you're going to have to get this book. Unless you want to take the errata, go into your Total Warfare and BMM and mark up 50 or 60 pages, which is also a viable thing. But with how much this book has been revamped, it really has the vision and the sleekness of the Battle Mech manual with the updates. It's 100% purchase you should make if you want to play BattleTech going forward. Yeah, I only have compliments for it for what I've seen so far. So,
but at the same time, if you're still playing, battle droids, I'm not going to stop you. No one's taken your classic BattleTech away from you.
Yeah, and if you are still playing battle droids, send us a message, because I want to know if anyone's actually still playing battle droids.
Yeah,
because that is insane. or second edition. I'll give you up to second edition too, because that's a completely different world now.
Yeah. If you got the second edition and you thought everything after that was trash, but you for some reason listened to our podcast, send us an email or a letter. I don't know. Exist. How do you communicate? Postcards, Telegram. I'm being rude now.
Fax. We don't have a fax.
We don't have a fax line.
Let's wrap it up with technology is weird.
Technology is weird.
You can kiss me now, if you want to.
Mwah.
And that brings us to an end of another deployment of BungleTech. Your mission today, Mech Warrior. 1. Check out our merch store. 2. Check out the BungleTest. All linked in the show description. As always, you can find us via Discord, email, and Patreon. Until next time, Mech Warriors. Good fortunes on the battlefield. Selah.
All podcast objectives complete. Podcast shutdown sequence initiated.